Hello, my name is Angelique, and I want to convey my story as to why I joined Shincheonji and how it really aided my growth when it came to carrying out a life of faith. For starters, I was someone who grew up in a typical religious household, but it actually wasn't Christianity at first. I found that I followed a lot of traditions, did things to please my family and friends, and all in all, carried out a life of faith based on what I thought was right, or what I thought God would be pleased with. It really motivated me to be consistent, to be honest, but it came to a point where I started to really think why I was doing this, or how I was so sure that God was real and the like. It's kind of like those moments where you just ask a lot of questions to yourself to make sense of everything. It's hard because I found religion to be something I identified with. So asking questions I had no answers to really troubled me. It came to the point where yes, I could label myself as a believer, but I couldn't clearly answer why and how. One day, while I was sitting on a bench for a break, some people from Shincheonji were doing some outreach. I am skeptical of strangers, but two of them came up to me hoping I was having a good day. They asked if I wanted to grow in my faith as well. As we spoke, I realized that they were just normal people who once also struggled with growing in faith. Now, they were reaching out to those who wanted to learn about God and His Word. I appreciated how natural our conversations were and how in the end, it was ultimately my choice to learn or not. So I did. The teachings were things I've never heard of before. Rather than being immersed in just emotions or feeling pressure to fit in with people or being looked at with so many expectations, they just taught the Bible in a reasoning and logical perspective. They taught the Bible in God's perspective rather than their own. The teachers and mentors were always humble and genuinely cared that I understood what I was learning. They made sure I wasn't left behind, especially since I was the type who wanted to make sense of things and ask questions. There were times I did struggle, because I wasn't used to viewing the Bible based on what God plainly wrote. Yet, rather than being upset, they accepted my doubts and confusion, and then helped me review to understand. As a result, I was able to not only understand the purpose, will, and heart of God in the Old and New Testament, but even saw how the books of the Bible were connected with one another. From the promises God made, to how they all fulfilled, to finally seeing why the Bible is relevant to me, even in the 21st century. I grew in appreciation for God as my eyes opened in seeing how much He's worked and cared for me, and just how ignorant I was too. My experiences in learning the Word helped me understand the purpose and meaning of my life, especially since I was so lost in carrying out a life of faith before. I was determined to grow in my understanding, faith, and actions based on the teachings of the Bible. This included growing a heart to help others as well. By taking the time to reason and learn about the heart of God, I'm so thankful for how much God has helped me grow and change my perspective on what's truly important. The people of Shincheonji also have to work, go to school, volunteer, and perhaps have a family to provide for. But what I greatly appreciate is that we all work with the goal of growing in faith towards God and carrying out righteous actions according to God's Word, not just what we think is right or wrong. And it is here that I've come to clearly know why I believe in God and His Word. Shincheonji receives a lot of mixed opinions from people, despite the fact they serve to help create peace and help people like me grow in faith. I sincerely hope that my story can serve as a living testimony as to what Shincheonji is really about and why I choose to stay.